Hello everyone, Alta of Wisdom speaking. Today we're continuing a journey towards finishing our kick. It's not over yet. We're gonna be finishing the polyphonic mode to make sure we have something which is workable in all kind of situations, whether it be just playing kicks or doing kick rolls. We're gonna deal as well with the velocity because we have removed that part in the previous sessions. And we're going to work to adding a reference kick, which is an important thing if you're planning to reproduce something that you like. And we as well will be adding the click, what is called a click for the kick. So it's going to be a quick and interesting session, so let's get into it. So it's working fine. I just wanted to add a thing before we go further. We'll see later if it's worth it or not, but I wanted to add the possibility to change the initial phase of the kick. Might be interesting for people who want to change the phase and relation to the bass, to a bass line, for example. So just copying this here, and I'm gonna add a value corresponding to the phase here. So I'm going to change the initial phase of my sine wave. It might slightly to what I want. So I'm going to add this thing here. My phase will be between 0 and 360 degrees. That's an integer. Yeah, no, I can't use an integer. Yeah. Okay, stored as a float, but use that as an integer. It's perfect. Display. And minimum maximum values are fine. And this is gonna be phase. And I'm gonna need to change that as well. So 0, 360. And yeah, actually it's a phase that I want, so I want to divide this by 360 with a dot. And there we go. Okay, I'm going to set up an initial value to that, so it's when loading the device is going to be at 0. And now yeah, just let's do a bit of connection here. So now I want to trigger, as we did before, I want to trigger the kick when we have a velocity different from 0. So each time I get something here, I want to trigger it. If it's different from 0, I'm going to draw a note, but if I'm always sending the same value here, as the poly by default will not overlap a note with the same pitch, whatever, then it won't trigger the same note. Trying to make it clearer. Let's say I'm going to send a value of 25, no, whatever. There's going to be a message. So I'm going to, oh, sorry. So if I send 25, I'm going to trigger my kick. So that's fine. But if I try to send it like twice, it probably will trigger only one kick because I'm going to send the same MIDI note. And this is not what I want. I want to do something that would trigger, for example, 25 and then 26 to make sure that I have two different kicks playing. Yeah, I'm not sure it sounds, but that's usually necessary. Or maybe we have an option to allow poly to play the same note several times. No, I don't seem to see anything like that. So instead what I want to do is using a counter, so I have a value which changes, and each time I get a velocity I'm going to send a different value because I increment. So let's add a counter. I'm going to count whatever from 1 to 100 to make sure that it's going to be different. And I'm going to connect this counter to my note message. And this counter, so I probably don't need that. This counter will be triggered by any velocity which is different from 0. So I'm going to select 1, like so. And so I receive notes. Here I get the velocity of the note. If the velocity is different from 0, which means that it's actually a note which is played, and gonna send a bang, which will send an incremental value here, which will in turn trigger a note. Let's see what it does if I just press play on my on live. Doesn't do anything. Yeah, it actually does, but I need to regenerate. Yeah, it doesn't trigger anything because I need to connect this one as well. So when I change the phase, I want to regenerate my kick. And if you see, if I change the phase, you see that my kick change ever so slightly, which can be interesting to correct or to change the initial transient. As you can hear, there are values of the phase which give us a different snap. So it's probably an interesting point. Yeah, at 180, I lose this snap, so I have something which is a bit more techno-ish, but if I change the phase to 80, then I have this click on the top, the initial transient, which to me sounds better. So let's just press stop. And what I want to do here is just change this because we are working in degrees. But as you can see here, the unit style doesn't have degrees, so I'm gonna use a custom units, and I want to display this value as, it's a bit abstract, 0.0, which means I want to have 1 digit but no digit after the decimal, and after that I want to add the degree text, something like that, and no 0. Too bad. That's a floating point, I think, like so. Yeah, it's a bit awkward. So now my phase is in degrees as it should be. Yeah, 360 is useless because it's same as 0, but never mind. And you see my phase impacting the kick. So it might be interesting both to improve the quality of the initial transient or to phase shift with regards to a baseline if you want to tweak this way. So this one is the phase. I'm gonna add it to the user interface. So it's gonna be phase. It's already added as I've copied it from added objects. I just need to put them properly. Like so, and I'm going to put this here. So now I think I have what I want. Something I need to check is, yeah, no, okay, it's triggering. So normally now if I change the phase, I should show. Yeah, definitely hear that different phases change the sound of the kick, which is probably a good thing. so we can both find the proper phase and the proper attack by tweaking this phase parameter without changing anything else. So it's pretty subtle. Good. So now I'm gonna add a bit of tweaks on the graphical interface. For example, this might be a bit too visible, so I want to make it possible to change its opacity. Can I do that? Style, channel click mode. So that would be changing the waveform color, probably. Yeah. So if I use this, if you go on the colors, the 3 first numbers are the red, green, and black and blue values, and the last one is the opacity. So I can tweak this one. Let's take no, whatever. I'm gonna change it, and I want to make sure I'm gonna send waveform color. So that's the message I want to send. I'm gonna send my color, which is the green, but with the opacity which can be provided, and the opacity will be between 0 and 100. Let's name it waveform opacity. And it's going to be displayed as percentage. Yeah, but I don't need all these digits, so I'm going to do 0, something like that. Yeah, no, wrong. Is that it? No. Always a bit. Oh, sorry. I need to switch back to custom. Yeah. Something like that. Not exactly. And with a percent after that. So as you see, yeah. And connecting this to there. And this way, when I change this, oh yeah, I don't want to send more than one in opacity. What I want to use is the raw value, which is here, and which is gonna be always between 0 and 1. It allows me to change the visibility of that waveform if I want to have better access. So this is, I won't be using a knob because it would be a bit too visible. So that's going to be waveform. And I'm going to center these ones and put them here, for example. As you can see, the UI is starting to be a bit cluttered again. So we might have to do something about that later. If I now play with this, I can change how visible my waveform is, which is interesting if you want to tweak, or depending on your screen as well. Sometimes it's a bit better to change that. We could even have the possibility to select a color, but it doesn't really, I'm not sure it really makes sense to be able to skin that. Okay. We might have a different color between pitch and amplitude, so we have a visible hint about what we are actually editing. So let's open this. So this is the pitch, and let's use I don't know, pitch pink. That's totally arbitrary. It has to be visible enough though, so quite clear, like so. So this way we have, we know, yeah, and maybe what I can do, yeah, I can't change the color of this to have this visual hint. to help us. But we see now that we have different color for these two envelopes. Right. Now there's another thing that we need to be able to add is the reference kick. If you want to play and tweak a kick, or if you want to reproduce an existing kick, it's interesting to be able to drag and drop an existing kick from your any folder, from your samples, and to have it replicated. So again, it's going to be with this waveform, which has a double use. First one is to show a waveform, but as well it's possible it's where you can drop a waveform. However, allow drag and drop. Yeah, I need to make sure how it's used. Treatment snaps. Yeah, we don't need to play the replicated one, so maybe just having a waveform on which we can drop something would be enough. But we want to be able to display it as well. So I'm gonna need another color. Let's say blue would be our reference kick. Let's copy this because we want to be again able to change the opacity of the reference one, and instead of that we will use this color with the opacity, and this is going to be reference. So now if I change that, I can have a different value. And let's check. I think there is an object with live drop. Yeah. It's probably better to do it like so. Remove the drag and drop here and have a place where we can drop a sample. And let's see how it works. Yeah, file name of the dropped file. So whenever I place, so I probably need to connect this to a different buffer. So let's create a buffer which is going to be the reference kick. One second, whatever. I'm going to connect this second waveform to the reference kick. Let load. And when I get a new file, I think I only have to connect this and there. And let's see what type of method. I think that's replace, which we want to use. Yeah, replace. And if I replace like so, it's going to replace each time I drop something there. I'm going to replace my buffer reference kick by this new value, and so display this one. Let's make a nice text here. What's the default text? Yeah, here. Okay. Control border. I don't want anything of this, and I want to use a background, maybe text color. Let's use the same black. Can I just paste? Yeah, paste. So I'm using the same black, but it's invisible. Opacity maximum and a bit. So we see that we are in the blue, so it corresponds to the reference kick. And I need to put this somewhere so I can drag and drop something on it. As you can see, it's really starting to be overloaded. So we're gonna work on the. So this one will go there. I want it same place there, and we change the reference as well. So let's widen a bit our interface. Let's say that reference things will go there. I probably don't need that. And I need to put something there. It's probably better to have a hint that we can drop things there. And now maybe we're good. We need to give a try. So now you see that my ref kicks has been emptied. So let's just load whatever a kick, like so. Yeah. So I have a kick which is displayed there. It seems fine, but I think that we have a scale issue there, because when you load something in this buffer, it's going to adjust the overall display to the length of the reference, which is not actually what I want. That's the replace message. I think that there is a way to avoid that. Clear. Okay, import replace with automatic resizing. So replace actually updates the length, but if I put read, then it's gonna crop the sample to the value. But that display should be, so that's not really the issue. I need to sync this thing and this thing in terms of the display. Maybe we have a way, display length, yeah. If I just connect this here, I think I'm able to synchronize. Probably need to send a bang somehow. Okay, I need to set, okay. Dump output the value to which it's set specific to the inlet, it's which the bang is relevant. So if I send a bang on this, yeah, it's gonna send the bang, the value here. So exactly what I want. So this is resizing, but okay, so each time I resize, yeah, but even though, okay, let's do this. Each time I load a new kick or I change the size of my kick, I want to output this value. Let's see if it works. Yeah, it seems to work. And let's give it a try. If I'm dropping another kick, not sure. Oh, maybe, yeah. It's because the maximum, this is the value of my reference kick. So let's see what it does if I have a very short one. It should be cropped as well. Yeah. Yeah, it seems to work. So now I have the same scale of the time scale between my reference kick and the kick I'm currently drawing. I think that's what we want. Of course, yeah, just thought about something that could be interesting. It would be to be able to switch to listen to my reference kick or my generated kick instead. So switching from playing this buffer, which is the rendered kick, and my reference kick. Somehow I need to send a message here. I'm gonna need a switch. So this will be kick selector, something like that. And the two values will be internal or ref. And I'm going to send a message to my poly, which will be select. Hopefully it's not a message which is already, no, select, it's not used. So, and now, oops, if I open this, I'm going to have to filter maybe this thing, and using root, this thing allows to send a message depending on the prefix. So for example, here I'm going to root select to the first output, and the last output is for anything which doesn't match my text. So select will be received by my poly, and will allow me to change the kick the sample I'm playing. So I'm gonna have to select 0 or 1, which are the two possible values for my selector. And if I receive, let's make a bit of space. If I receive 0, so it's gonna be this output, I'm gonna change this to rendered kick. But if I receive a 1, I'm gonna play reference kick. Something like that. I need to check if it's actually working. No data. Let's just check what it does. And of course, it's not only select that I want to send. Let's select $1. And so I'm receiving from this inlet select 1. So there is no message here because the word the note is the message is prefixed by select, and I'm sending message 1, so I'm sending this to reference kick. And if I switch back to internal, yeah, I've received 0. So I have this that I want to play here. We'll change the colors maybe later, but let's see if it's actually, if it works actually. No. Okay, yeah, that's something which I know what's happening, because my message is actually sent to one of the instances of my polytilde. So I'm changing only one voice. So as you see, I have 8 voices, so I have one kick over 8, which is changed. What I want to do is change all the voices, and I think there's an option on the attributes. Okay, the poly, that's target. The poly instance that will receive subsequent message arriving. So if I target 2, I'm gonna send the message to voice 2, but what I want to do is send to all instances. So target 0 is what I want. So I'm gonna change here and add target 0. So any message which is sent to this poly will be received by all voices. Let's see if it works. Yep. Exactly. So I think that's an interesting feature, because say you have a nice kick that you've taken from somewhere. I mean, maybe you sampled it from a track which you like, and you want to replicate it, but you want to hear it in context, it's a good point to be able to switch back and forth between what you're trying to do and the reference kick that you have, without having to set up a sampler, having 2 tracks and all that kind of stuff. So that's good. Maybe I need to check as well, because that's usually an issue with live, making sure that my buffer will be loaded back when I reload my project, which is not always happening. As you know, or maybe not, you can't save an actual sample inside the project, but it will try to find it back whenever you at reload normally. Let's see if we can do that. So that would probably be in the attributes, file type, format, samples. I'm not sure. This is restored at load, so maybe this value is stored with the patcher. And so we only need to maybe do a load bank, so the value is sent when loaded. It would probably work. We need to, of course, test that by closing the actual project and loading it back and see if it works. So let's save. Whoa. So what I can do is saving my project. Yeah, there's the name of the sample, which is not displayed, but still we kind of see how it is. So I create a new project, which is empty, and then I load back my previous one to see. I think it's asking for the sample, but seems to work. Yeah, it's loading it back, fine. I don't know why it's asking for a value. Is that all? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I've done something wrong, most likely, because it's asking for a file. So maybe that load bank is not the good thing. Yeah, I think that load bank is asking for this message. So let's check again. So I'm saving the project, creating a new one, and loading it back. But that's fine. So it seems that the buffer is reloaded when loading back the project. Of course, you need to have the sample which is still present in the same folder, because as I told you, it doesn't save the actual sample, just a reference to it. So you need to have access to the same file. But we have, yeah, may have some issue with the size, because maybe at load we need as well to trigger this one, because it's not done. So when I load my project, my device, then I'm sending this value there. So at reload of the project it's going to happen as well. Let's check it. So this is what we actually have. I'm saving the project, creating a new one, and loading it back. No. The display is not changed accordingly, so maybe we have to wait a bit. 50, which doesn't seem to correspond to my actual value, so that's something if I just click here, I see that it's not 50 that I'm expecting. So this bang message is probably sent a bit too early before my kick is actually rendered. Yeah, sometimes you need to synchronize stuff, and record is not sending a bang anyhow when it's over. So because what I want to do is at load I want to regenerate my kick, which is done like with this, and then send my trigger. So maybe no, that size is okay. Yeah, somehow it should send the proper value here, but it's happening too early. Okay, we'll think about that later. It's no big deal, but it's a bit annoying because you have to touch a knob to make sure that your second kick is happening. And I don't want to have something like a metro, like a regular trigger that will send regularly this value, because that would be a workaround, but it's not clean at all to do it like so. Again, I can remove this thing, and I want to load this. That's not actually load bang, load mess, and I want to send output value. So when loading back, we'll show that we are still playing whatever choice we had previously. And here, so what's happening? At load, I'm triggering all this, which will trigger the recreation of my bang. It's the default value. Maybe we can try, not sure if it works, but I can try to delay that bang a bit using the defer low, which defers the execution of a message. It means that message or bang will be less in terms of priority, so it's going to happen later than anything else which is not deferred. So it might be enough to have what we want. So we see that doesn't change anything for editing, but it's when loading and unloading that we want to make sure that it's properly synced. Oh, yes, I think it's working now. Good. Try again, because don't save, and loading it again. Seems fine. Yeah, I think now we have the proper synchronization. Good. So now let's just add the velocity handling to change the amplitude depending on the incoming. Let's see if we can do that cleverly. I'm gonna put a bit of room there. So what I want to do is grab the velocity. I'm going to divide it by 127 to map it between 0 and 1. But I want to skip 0 values because it could make some clicks if I pass this on. So maybe what I can do is do something like that. No. No. If $f1, which is going to be my new value, is different from 0 multiplied by its value, so I pass it on if it's different from 0, but if it's equal to 0, equals 0, in that case I'm going to pass another value, which will be some kind of stored value. And so, yeah, if it's stored, then it's going to be this one will be updated, or yeah, not updated, but it's going to be sent. Maybe it works. No, it doesn't like to have cycling values, which makes sense. Because I can try to use a switch, a gate, or maybe a switch. Yeah, if I pass this on, and I'm going to transmit this value. So this is the value I want to pass on, and I want to open. Well, that's a gate. Actually, that's really a gate. Yeah, and I want to pass this value only if it's different from 0. So I'm going to first do the check. Different from 0, and this will control my gate. So if you follow me, so I'm receiving a velocity here. If it's 0, then the gate is closed and nothing passes on. And this is useless. I'm gonna see how to use it. But if it's different from 0, then first I open the gate, because that's my right inlet. So I first open the gate and then I transmit this value. And I'm gonna use this value to multiply it with the output of my poly to map it. So we don't care about the type of inlet, because in audio signal both inlets are hot. So something like that should be alright. And maybe, yeah, that's no big deal. So by default it's going to be 0. Let's save it. And here I've changed a bit my values here. I'm going to lower the velocity here to avoid having a too high a level. Let's listen to what it does. Yeah, there's some distortion happening right at the beginning, but not sure what causes that. Let's just duplicate this thing and have a listen. Yeah, when I play again, when it starts, there's some too high level. Let's try to lower this one. That's the first one, which is actually too high for some reason. And this must have a reason why just after a short kick having a long one causes an issue. Let's remove that and see. Yeah, there's a peak here with a very, very high value. Which is caused by this kick roll that we have here. Let's put just 16s. Probably too many notes overlapping at the same time, so I maybe need to reduce the numbers of kicks, and as well I need to set up maybe the steal mode to make sure that new voices will cut old ones. So voice stealing. So it's going to be interrupting the playing kick if I have another one and all voices are occupied. So still will be 1. I activate the still, and I don't want to have more than, let's say, there's going to be 1 kick. I mean, I never want to have 2 overlapping kick. Let's try to see how it works. It might induce clicks again because I'm gonna interrupt the kick. Let's see what it does. Not really, that's pretty good. That's better. That's a bit abrupt. That's good. I'm pretty happy with the results so far. So now we have our reference kick. We have the way of changing the visibility both of the reference kick and the generated waveform. Now we might want to add a click to our kick. So usually people would take like some close hi-hat or just some white noise, but whatever sample. So we need to be able to drop another sample, which would be in that case a hat, and have at least an envelope on this sample, or at least a decay time on this sample, because most of the time you won't want to play the whole of it, and maybe a volume as well. So we need three things: that drop wave, an envelope, or at least a decay time, and an overall length. So let's add this. I'm gonna take all this thing. So again, this is gonna be called the click. I'll have a new buffer which will be named click. All right. This buffer, I need to be able to set its length. Won't be using the big knob, only a small one. And it will be size. I'm going to resize the buffer according to this. And we'll need as well decay time, but the decay will have to be sent to our poly. So we're gonna create a new message. Oops. Ooh. And the message will be decay, for example, $1, and I will send the decay like so. And in my buffer, I need to play this click when my rendered kick plays as well. So that's going to be the click, and it's going to be triggered same, but this will pass through an envelope. So I'm going to add an ADSR. By default it won't have any attack. Decay will be like 10 milliseconds, but it's going to be changed. Sustain nothing and release nothing. And I think the ADSR can be, yeah. So the ADSR will be triggered by the incoming note. So we have this and that, and we're going to multiply both of them So we have our click, which will play, which will be multiplied by an envelope, so the volume will be tweaked accordingly, and all this will go out with the main kick, the main rendered kick. I think we're good so far. It's pretty simple. Yeah, I need to connect. So root select decay. So now any message which contain decay, I need to intercept it. So this is for the notes, and this is for the decay. And so that's going to be, here is attack, and here's the decay. So this one will be connected there. So it's going to update my ADSR accordingly. And normally we're good. I need to put this at somewhere on my interface. And this one as well. Not sure which one is which one. This one is the decay. Do I actually need to have this lens? No. If I only have the decay, it's probably enough. I don't care really about this, so let's remove that. It's useless. So I'm going to only have the click decay and the place to drop the click. Let's lock the background so I can move stuff around. This is the click decay. This is my click. And this will be the click decay. Like so. Let's save. And we'll see. I'm going to drop voluntarily. Oh yeah, I have this also the volume of my click, which I need to add. But let's say I'm going to find a hat. Just hat. Like this, and I want to play it at the same time. Yeah, you can hear it, but my minimum decay is 50 milliseconds, which is too much. I need to change that value to go down to 1 milliseconds, whatever, from 1 to may say 100 milliseconds. I mean, a click doesn't need to be more than this value. Good. And I'm gonna add the volume for my click. So volume will be between 0 and 100%, for example. 0, 100. In percentage. But again, I want a percentage between without any decimals. So percent 0.0% would be what we want to have. Yeah, and this will be somehow connected to my poly as well. Oops, sorry. It's getting a bit wide. And let's put it here. And we have the click volume. Let's say it's going to be click volume. And I will use between 0 and 1. So my value here will be 0 and 1, even though this value is between 0 and 100. And I send that to the poly. And I will route this click volume. Again, this one goes right, and the click volume will be I think maybe we can, let's see if I send a float on the Latin light with a given amplitude. Yeah, I can do it smarter and multiply here by my amplitude. and use this directly as the trigger, so I don't need to add another multiplier as on an audio signal, as you can see. So we have an ADSR which will have a maximum amplitude between 0 and the full and 1, the full amplitude. This is just for saving a few bytes of CPU. And the click volume is already on my interface, so I only need to test it. Yeah. Good. Now we have our kick and we have the click, which is parameterable. I need, of course, to sort a bit things out because it's really getting far from readable, though it's working. So I'll probably start putting some areas with a panel around them to have things a bit more readable and with the graphical interface a bit cleaner. So that's it for today. We've worked quite fast today. We've been through things that I had in mind with quite a clear view. So it was pretty fast, apart from just finishing that thing on the polyphonic mode and making sure that we have the best thing. Adding the reference view for a reference kick and the click is a good thing. I think it was necessary to have that. One question I still have, and maybe you want to comment, you want to give your message and give your advice on the messages, is should I keep the interface as it is now, so everything happening on the bottom of the tracks, like most devices, or should I try to build a floating window like a VST, which would allow us to have something a bit bigger, and so we can tweak a bit better, we have a bit more precision when dealing with amp and pitch envelope typically. So let me know in the comment what you think about this idea, or should I stay as it is now. Please hit me a like if you like this video, if you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to my channel if you want to, and if you want to support me further and actually get that device, because I'm going to post this version later on my Patreon website, so feel free to have a look at what I'm proposing to my Patreon supporters, and if you want to join in, I'll be grateful. Cheers guys.